wondered if you have karmic rollover lessons from different incarnations, I'm going to share a multidimensional chakra scan I just did with a client in case it helps you on your journey as well. So this is going to be a new gift that I have seen and that I became privy to in this person's chakra system, and maybe it's new in the collective. If you have seen this before, I would love to hear. Okay, so I go into their chakras, and when I was in their root chakra, I found a little girl version of them, one of their inner children, and she needed to be seen, heard, and validated and told how special she is. And I asked her if she wanted to come with me to the rest of the chakras to provide healing, and she was like, yes. and so we went on that journey, and I was helping her tap into her fairy magic and the fairy realm. But then we got up to her crown chakra, this person I was reading for, and I said, oh, you can't come in here. Talking to the little girl, I said, there's not good energy in here. There's something going on and it's not appropriate for you. So I sent her into the Fae kingdom back there. Well, I went into her crown and I shielded so she wouldn't be able to access. And so when I get in, I am transported into this town. And it's a concurrently running timeline, like it's happening right now. And I saw this gentleman and he was walking down this alley, and I told him, hey, stop. I said, what are you doing in here? Because I know it's not good, okay? And this was a different timeline version of the person that I was reading for. And he did not want to talk to me. He knew I was in there, and he said, I'm not going to tell you. And I said, okay. And so I called the oversoul of this person and this person's higher self from this timeline to come in and help me. And I actually called my higher self to come in as well, because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And basically the oversoul and this person's higher self from this timeline made this guy tell me what was going on. He was hurting people within the position that he was in, like the profession that he was in. And I said, okay, well, that's not gonna continue to happen. Okay, so that is not okay. But I can't personally stop him from doing that because that's not my place. And I said, what am I supposed to do? And the oversoul and the higher self were like, oh, well, this person in this incarnation, the client that I was working for, what they are going to learn how to do in this incarnation is how to override a soul contract within themselves. And I said, well, why would you want to do that? And they said, because it's karmic clear out, because all timelines are running at once. And so you have to have a council come together in order to do that. It can't just be one higher self. The oversoul has to be present as well, because they were going to drastically alter this soul contract. So this person was not able to do these things anymore. Like there was going to be all these events that happened that made them right their wrongs, if that makes sense, like karmic cleanup. But it had to be a consensus amongst many higher selves and the oversoul. And then the oversoul said, this person in this incarnation with their timeline doesn't have to do that, because they have free will and they can choose not to, and it will still happen per the other higher selves. But they wanted to include her in this because they said, oh, if you decide to help us with this, with rewriting the contract, then you will receive that gift of being able to do this with other people and finding timelines within themselves. And then after I relayed this to the client, they asked me how this is karmically affecting them in this incarnation. And I said, it's kind of, and then it's not at the same time, because you are one soul. And I said, sometimes we can take this information and say like, oh, I'm an evil or bad person, but healing is like very cyclical in the way that it works with the collective as a whole and in the cosmos as a whole. I said, sometimes you have to take on these roles where you're doing not so good things in order for other pieces and facets of you to clear that out within self. And so you learn how to do that, and you can do it with other people and out in the collective. This is where duality starts to come into play, okay? Where there's no like quote unquote good or bad. And looking through a human perceptual lens, that was not good. Like when I went in there, I was like, sir, you cannot be doing this. Okay, this is no, okay? And their higher self was explaining like things like this have to happen in order for us to advance as a society and evolve. And because we're going through such like a big karmic clear out right now, as in our timeline and this time and space, we need to do like deep karmic clear outs within ourselves for different timelines as well. Then that will help us have a completely different future as a collective moving forward. It's like if you took on a karmic lesson in this incarnation where you did something that was not so great, and then you had to heal through that, and understand like why we don't need to do those things or make those choices. And then you have a different future moving forward. And it's not something you need to like hold shame and guilt over yourself necessarily, because sometimes we're only doing the best we can with what we have at that time. But understanding yourself at different layers within your soul contract and the collective helps us all grow and expand. This is a new gift that I've seen, okay? Because I am one to go in and help timelines heal through very specific things, but I have not come across one that was so extremely reluctant to making those changes and having the oversoul and many different higher selves come forward and say, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, and asking the client, like the client that I was working with, do you want to be a part of us all learning how to do this together so that we can help the collective? So I would love to hear if you are an Akashic record reader, energy healer, shamanic practitioner, and you have seen this before, or if you have any questions, and if you would like a multidimensional chakra scan so you can understand yourself on a deeper level, you can go to my profile and click, or check the description box below or the comments. And what comes through for people is very different. It may not be this, okay? This is very specific for this person, but it can be inner child healing, trauma awareness, things that you need to do for your physical vessel in order to receive frequency upgrades, spirit guides, spirit animals can come through, DNA activations. And so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments as well.